and on DAB, digital radio across the county. Now, coming up between now and 9, we'll be joined by the brilliant Fionn Ashman, who will be on the show to tell us about her success with Carmarthen Town's women's side and her thoughts on the upcoming Euros and the cricket season. We've also got Harrison Allen cricket with an intriguing quarter-final draw now made, and Fraser will bring us some news on the Pembrokeshire Knockout Rugby Cup, which features an interesting rule change this year. However, to kick off the second hour, we are going to take you right now to Geneva, where the Haverfordwest County delegation are eagerly anticipating the draw tomorrow, where the Bluebirds will find out who they play in the first qualifying round in the Europa Conference. It's the second time in 3 years that Haverfordwest County will play European football. And joining us, waterside in Geneva, where I think he was 2 years ago, is the Bluebirds chairman, Rob Edwards. Evening, Rob. Welcome to Pure West Sport. How are you?
Evening. Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're all very good. Tom, Fraser and Gordon with me, as always, on a Monday evening. But set the scene for us, Rob. Second time in 3 years. How does it feel this time around to be representing Haverfordwest County ahead of a European draw?
I mean, it feels... I think it feels very different to the last time. I think we had such a great year. We really deserved to be here. So it was... It's a much prouder moment, although I stand in the same spot as we spoke 2 years ago. Minus the fountain in the background. We're struggling to find out why it's not working, but they should have known we were coming. But no, it's we're in the exact spot, and to be honest, it doesn't feel like 2 years ago. There's been such a whirlwind since then, but after such an amazing season, it feels really really deserving, and we're really happy to be here. And again, excited for tomorrow to see what comes next, see where we go.
Okay, the guys will come in just a sec, but for people watching and listening, talk us through what tomorrow looks like for you guys, Rob.
I mean, we're unseeded again, so we obviously European amateurs, if you like, based on some of the clubs we're up against. So we're going to be in for a tough draw no matter what happens. We can go anywhere from Dublin to Kazakhstan. So I think tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. we have the pre-draw. So I think we're drawn with 5 or 6 clubs that we could potentially go to. So we'll eagerly await that and see where the options are. But yeah, it's a complete unknown really. We know one of the 25 clubs we're going to, but outside of that is in the fate of UEFA gods now. So we go where we're told, but it's we've played a few scenarios in our heads. There's a few we'd love to go to, a few that we wouldn't, but yeah, we out of our hands. We'll go there tomorrow excited, and we go where we go. Okay, come on, Fraser.
Yeah, Rob, I don't think, given the backdrop right now, that places like Llanelli and Cardiff are at the forefront of your mind. But I know everyone's talking about where Haverfordwest could go. I'm more intrigued by the Durham of the home games this year. You'll play at Stevenheath Park and not the Cardiff City Stadium. Is that correct? Sorry,
so we're playing Parker Scarlets.
Parker Scarlets. Sorry, yes, Parker Scarlets.
The ground name the ground name changed about 20 years ago, Fraser, but we know where you mean. Yeah, Parker Scarlets.
Now, I personally think that is a good move from this point of view. Obviously, it's less travel for the club, and I argue they make the same argument Wales Women's Home International. I think you get much more of a partisan atmosphere in that venue. It's slightly smaller. It's not as vast as the Cardiff City Stadium, as elite as that was. I say elite, it's a League One stadium now, of course, isn't it? But we won't go into that. But it always felt surreal in there, but it was almost too vast to get any kind of home atmosphere going. Do you think you'll be at an advantage because of those reasons?
I think so. Look, Cardiff City wasn't our first choice last season. We kind of had something tied down, and that didn't materialise last minute. So it was a case of going where we could be accommodated. And look, Cardiff were amazing with us during those 2 games, and we put on 2 really good performances. But yeah, Parker Scarlets is somewhere we would have chosen to play if we could, and they've been really good to us so far. And I think being a much closer to Haverfordwest and a bit more accessible to most fans, I think we'll have a really good crowd. It's a bit more compact, although an amazing facility. I think it's definitely a bit more conducive to a better atmosphere, although 2,000 sounded like a lot more than that in the 35,000 capacity, particularly when we won 1-0 up in the last minute.
Sure.
So I think it will be a really good atmosphere to play. Look, depending on who we go up against, it would be nice to be playing at home and create a good atmosphere. And put on a good show to take something away with us. But yeah, I'm really happy to be there. They've been really good to us, and hopefully it will draw a really big crowd compared to where we had before.
I think you're right, whether you're inside or outside the club. It does feel different, the qualification coming around. It's almost been expected. It's been coming. And like you said, it's thoroughly deserved. Not that the last one doesn't deserve, but the circumstances were much more different. For a lot of us outside the club, it was actually very unexpected. There's no getting away from that. And I always felt you had then a very good run in Europe, and there was perhaps a little hangover after that season. And in terms of your results, it took you a while to maybe come down from that high psychologically and get going again. Because you've had more time to prepare this time, as you said, it's more expected. It's something that's built over a period of time. Are you a lot more confident that whatever happens in this European campaign, you're a lot better equipped to hit the ground running in the league than this time around?
Yeah, so much. I think on field and off field, like in Tony and the coaching team, Becky in the back office, the players, there's a lot of players that were still here from when we played in Europe. Some have been at other clubs and played in Europe previously. I think the turnover of players after last time we qualified for Europe was so high. We had to recruit fairly quickly, and maybe we didn't make the best decisions, but we needed bodies in to be able to put out the best team possible to play in Europe. I think going into this season, we've got 16, 17 already signed up. So we've got a real strong foundation from the previous year, and recruitment is going to be a lot less intense than it was before. So we all learned so much, and I think in terms of the playing squad and the experience, we're going in a much better position. So I really feel like we're much stronger overall going into this tie, wherever we end up. I mean, we beat the third highest seed in the first round in 2 years ago. So I don't think we can fear anybody. As I said, there's a couple that we probably wouldn't want to play, but I think we can go in really expecting to take on anybody when we play as well as we can.
Let me bring Gordon in.
Yeah, preparations are going well. I can see that, Rob. You had a friendly on the weekend as well, and you've got 5 more friendlies before you play the game. But there have been a few two players leaving and a few coming in. Are we going to expect any star signings? You're not going to tell me exactly, but are you still going to recruit some more players before the start of the season? Because as Fraser said, we need to hit the ground running at the start of this season as well.
Yeah, look, you know, in this league, look, the players that perform really well and they get opportunities elsewhere, we're in a difficult position to be able to keep them. So we always know, and I guess we're kind of proud to some extent that players come in, they perform really well and go on to better opportunities. I think you're always going to expect that in the Welsh Prem. For us, we're in a much stronger foundation. As I said, we've got a really good group of players. We've got good numbers compared to where we were 2 years ago. So I think we'll always keep our options open and see what players are out there. But it has to be the right fit for us. If we're going to bring players in from outside of Pembrokeshire, they need to be some of our better players. So it's not a case of just filling up the squad for the sake of it. We need to make sure that people that come in now with the foundation we have are gonna compete at this level and be fighting for our first 11. So we're always open, but it has to be the right players. So we're not in a position where we have to bring bodies in for the sake of it. We can be quite specific. And look, Tony's on the phone, and we're looking to see what's out there and see what make us better. But it has to be the right type of player. Otherwise, look, we're not gonna bring players in just for the sake of it. I think you look at how well the 9 teams played last year. There's some amazing young talent in Pembrokeshire. A lot of those are going to be involved in pre-season, and it's opportunity for them to stake a claim to the first team squad. So unless someone comes in that is going to be as good or better than we've got, then we have to be realistic in terms of the players we bring in.
Exciting times for the Bluebirds, Rob. I mean, it's been your aim to get into Europe when you came into the club, and this is the second time around. And as you said, you're a lot more prepared this time around. Who would you? I'm going to put you on the spot. Who would you like to go to?
Or where? Maybe where, Gord? Maybe where as well?
Where?
San Marino. I'd love to go to San Marino. Like it's a beautiful part of the world. I've been before. It's one of my favourite places to go and visit. Somewhere warm, somewhere accessible, somewhere where I feel I've got an opportunity to win. But like I think in terms of competitiveness, look, we've beaten a very, very good side 2 years ago. We very nearly beat another very, very good side. So I don't think we can necessarily fear anyone, but I'd love to go to San Marino, Malta, Gibraltar, somewhere nice and warm, somewhere accessible, and somewhere I feel we can progress and hopefully go a little bit further than we will. But
because in 24 hours, Rob, you know, there are logistics for the club. You could be planning a trip to somewhere like Belarus or Moldova or Kazakhstan. The range of places you can go at this stage in the competition is vast, and I guess the challenges could potentially be quite big to plan those trips, right?
I mean, Macedonia and the Faroes, we couldn't have picked any worse two accessible countries to go to in the last, particularly when we beat Scandinavia at home. We had 3 working days to plan how to get to the Faroe Islands, and most people didn't know where it was. So it's a challenge, particularly in these early rounds when they're literally back to back. Like the first and second round are so quick after each other, and we've got a good sort of 3-4 weeks to be able to plan how to get somewhere. And tomorrow morning, 8 a.m, we're going to know one of the 5 or 6 that we're going to play, so that narrows it down slightly. But yeah, it's a huge challenge, particularly with clubs like ourselves that we're not full-time players. There's full-time staff, but there's so many variables that we have to deal with that I guess a lot of clubs that are a lot bigger than us and have been in Europe many times that don't have to deal with. But it's one of the challenges that we'll always embrace, and we want to be in this position. We want to be challenged on and off the pitch. So I'm really excited for tomorrow, and we'll be kicking in straight away.
Rob, I'm not going to ask you now to go into the financial nuances of European football or reveal any confidential details. Don't worry. But I do wonder, you've talked there about the logistics. Obviously, there's a lot of travel costs with these things involved to get the players. And you, like you said, you're not talking full-time professional players, not just players, staff, coaches, everyone over there. If it does happen to be a trip, you know, the location, we all know these days costs can vary, logistics in travel can vary, the amount of public transport you have to take when you get there can vary, as you'll probably know well from North Macedonia. Do the reimbursement from UEFA for getting into these competitions, does that more than cover those excess costs, or is that actually a dilemma for the club when you get into Europe? It is having to face these things.
Yeah, look, there's a UEFA set very clear public guidelines on what the income is from playing in Europe, but ultimately the cost of participating is down to the club. So as much as the first time round we wanted to go into, I guess you call it proper Europe and play in these countries that you probably wouldn't go, but financially the burden of us playing in the competition in these places is on us. So we have to weigh up the experience and the ability that we feel we can win a tie up against the financial implications of playing. So look, the income is set. We know what the income is going to be for qualifying and any subsequent round, but being able to participate is completely on us. So we have to weigh up the excitement of playing in Europe against playing somewhere that is not going to be to the financial detriment of the club.
And the players, well, of course, you've got to remember that your players got full-time jobs elsewhere. It's not always so easy to take annual leave at short notice, depending on what you're doing as well. And that's maybe something that us outsiders, again, overlook when we just see European football. I think it's actually an issue at the Club World Cup at the moment. The Auckland City coach took unpaid leave to go and lose 10-0 to Bayern Munich yesterday. So do you envisage any problems there, or are all players hopefully sorted in terms of their employers?
Yeah, no, like you said, there's factors we have to deal with that many full-time clubs don't. But look, fortunately, a lot of the players have had a lot of flexibility from their employment, and I think we're bar a wedding, I think we're in a good position to take a fully strength side across. I know it's just extra challenges that we know we have to deal with. But look, we've been in a position where we knew this was a real or a potential reality for a good number of months now because of how well we're performing in the league. So we've been able to plan as much as we can, and things like people don't understand this. It's not just the travel. There's medicals. There's obviously we need to play at home outside of our stadium. So there's logistics and costs that we have to deal with outside of just playing football, which we learned a lot from the last time, and we're a lot better prepared to be able to make sure that we can tie these things up a lot quicker. But yeah, no, it's there's numerous challenges that fortunately we have a great off-field team who take care of it day today, and we're in a good shape. We'll be going to Northern Ireland in a couple of weeks, so playing Linfield at Windsor Park is going to be a great experience for the coaching team, the players, the staff, and that will hold us in good stead as it did when we went to Larne a couple of years ago, and we had that experience of playing overseas before we went to Europe. And I think we're going to try and replicate as much of the preparation as we can, albeit now in a slightly more experienced position, because we had such a great time last time. We performed so well, and we want to do that again. We want to put on a show and show off Pembrokeshire in the best way possible, and Welsh football, and make everyone proud, which we did last time.
You certainly did. Well, listen, Rob, all the best for tomorrow. We await that draw with so much interest. One thing I hope doesn't happen this time on the European adventure, I hope no one dares lock the dressing room at half time. No repeat of that nonsense in the Faroe Islands this time around. I hope they've learnt the lesson.
Yeah, I think that was a surreal experience, something that we'll always remember, not necessarily for the right reasons, but yeah, we'll hope for a bit more hospitable welcome as we give such a great welcome to clubs that come here. We hopefully we get that in return next time wherever we end up.
Let's hope so. Listen, I know you're all set to have your dinner out in Geneva, so we will let you go. All the best to everyone else out there. Enjoy that draw tomorrow, and we will look forward to seeing where the Bluebirds will be off in a few weeks' time. Rob, thank you very much for joining us to kick off the second part of Pure West Sport this Monday evening. Good luck tomorrow. We are going to come back actually in just a few moments for the second part of tonight's Pure West Sport.
Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors have